This image of the crucifixion of a donkey-headed, half-dressed individual is commonly identified as the oldest depiction of the crucifixion of Jesus. But why? While it lacks any reference to Jesus and has none of the hallmarks that one might associate with images of the crucifixion outside of a cross, it contains one key detail that supports the identification of this crucified individual as Jesus. The Alexamenos Graffito is a small piece of Roman graffiti that was scratched into the plaster of a building on the Palatine Hill that archaeologists believe functioned as a boarding school for imperial pages. Dating to between the 3rd and 5th century CE, it depicts two individuals and reads, "Alexamenos worships his god." The graffito depicts Alexamenos standing with his right arm extended in reverence to his crucified god, both of whom not only have their back to the viewer, but are depicted wearing collobia. This short tunic, so short that it leaves the crucified man's backside exposed, is associated with lower class and enslaved persons in ancient Rome, indicating the low social standing of both individuals. However, the most prominent detail of the graffito, and the one that provides the key to identifying the crucified man as Jesus, is not the text, but the donkey head of the person being crucified. But why does Alexamenos' unnamed god have the head of a donkey? And how does this connect to Jesus? The use of a donkey's head, while clearly a mocking depiction, was not a random decision, but reflects a common accusation made against early Christians in ancient Rome, that they worshipped a donkey, a practice known as enolatry. This accusation can be seen in the works of early Christian writers like Tertullian and Origen, who defend themselves and the early church against the claim that an ass's head is the Christian's god, and that Christians worshipped a creature in the form of a donkey. This accusation was not a new creation, but the evolution of a claim that had previously been made against Jews and that became attached to Christianity. While the reasons behind this accusation are not entirely clear, as is common with pejorative attacks, it is because of this widely circulated accusation that we know that the unnamed crucified god of Alexamenos is supposed to be Jesus. This small inscription fills a hole in early Christian history, as outside of the use of early Tau signs and manuscripts, there's a near total lack of depictions of the crucifixion. The scene of the crucifixion does not become more frequent in Christian depictions of Jesus until the 6th century CE, where it appears that the scene of the crucifixion became an important part of the early church's response to the claims of aphthartodocetism, a tradition that came to be labeled as a heresy that claimed Jesus was only divine. In the defense of the humanity of Jesus, the scene of the crucifixion became an even more important moment, as if Jesus was only divine, he couldn't have died. As the Alexamenos Graffito is dated by many to the 3rd century CE, some 3 centuries before Christians began using the scene of the crucifixion widely, this inscription provides a rare, early, although hostile, image of the crucifixion of Jesus. And ironically, it's because of the use of the imagery of the donkey's head that we can identify this depiction of the crucifixion of Alexamenos' unnamed god as the oldest image of the crucifixion of Jesus.